Hi, it's Vic. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made this square floral card. So to start with, I have the stitched nesting square die and the scalloped nesting square die. So I've gone ahead and die cut a piece of pink card and then a piece of white card, and you can see here how pretty they layer on top of each other. And now I'm just showing you the stamp and colour kit. So this is the Pretty Amazing mini kit. So I'm going to go ahead and just stamp out some of these floral images. And I love these flowers, they're just so pretty. And I have a piece of Copic friendly card, and then I'm also using my Memento Tuxedo black ink. So once my images are stamped, I'm just going to pop them to the side, and then on that white piece of card that we die cut, I'm going to go ahead and add some pink pigment ink. So I've stamped this on a scrap piece of paper first, and then I'm stamping it onto the die cut piece just to give a very faint impression of the stamp. And I'm mixing up my stamps, so I'm using some different flowers, and then I'm also going to be using some of the leaves that come with the stamp set. And this just gives the piece of card a pretty impression of the stamps, and it's very light as well because they're double stamped, and I think this makes the card look extra pretty. So now I'm going to move on to my Copic colouring, and I'm just going to quickly show you how I coloured in the flowers using my Copic markers. So I've gone in with my yellow colours first, and now I'm just layering down my lightest colour for the petals, which is R81, and then I'm going in with the shading with R83. And I also find that turning the paper around and then just using the brush just to gently add your shading strokes really helps me with my colouring, especially with flowers, because I know a lot of people find it quite tricky colouring flowers. And now I've got my yellow 38, so I'm just going to apply this to the middle bit of the flower, and then I'm just going to blend them colours together with the other yellows that I've used. And now I have my RV34, so this is just going to just darken up a little bit of the shading, and I'm not going in with such big strokes with this colour. And this will add a little bit more extra definition to your flower. And feel free to add any extra markers, or if you want it a little bit darker, then just go ahead and use the next shade up from that. And now I'm moving on to the purple flower. So I'm using the same yellow Copics that I've used for the first flower on all my flowers, and I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm just starting with the lightest colour, and then I'm going in with the next darker shade just to add the shading, and then I'm going to blend these together. Now I'm moving on to my next flower, so I'm using BG11 as the light colour and BG13 as the darker colour, and these two colours blend really well together. So for my last flower, I've gone in with B00 as the light colour and B02 as the darker colour. And I've used the same yellow Copics for the centre of the flower, and now I'm just moving on to the leaves. So I have YG17 and YG67. So I'm using YG67 as the darker shade. So now I have a white jelly roll pen, so I'm just adding some little dots around the flowers just to give them a bit more texture. And then I also have a brown pen that I'm going to go in and just again add some little dots around the flowers. So when my colouring is complete, I'm going to go ahead and use the coordinating dies. So I just secure these down with a piece of washi tape, and then once all my dies are down on top of the stamped images, I'm going to go ahead and run them through my die cutting machine. Now there's that piece of card that we stamped the flowers on, so I have some distress ink. I've just used some black soot and I'm mixing it with some water, and I'm just applying some little dots to the background. And now I'm working on the sentiment, so I've got some black card and I've got some Versamark ink, and then I've used my white embossing powder. I'm just using a paintbrush there just to remove any excess embossing powder. And then I'm going to go ahead and heat set this with my heat gun. Just trimming my sentiment down, and then I can now get to work on my card. So I'm using some PVA glue to adhere that square piece to the scalloped piece. And now I'm just arranging where my flowers are to go along with my sentiment, and then I've just used some foam pads to adhere my flowers down onto my card. And now I'm adhering my sentiment, so I'm just trimming down some of them foam strips just so that they fit along the back of my sentiment. And then for my leaves, I've just used PVA glue, and I didn't want them having added dimension, so they sit quite nicely behind the flower. And now I've got some double-sided tape, so I'm just applying this to the back of the card, and then I can stick that on the card front. And then to finish my card, I have these Violet Garden sequins, and I love the Uniquely Creative sequins. They're always super pretty, so I'm just again using my PVA glue to adhere them down. And our card is now complete, so I hope you found the video helpful, and thank you so much for watching. Take care, bye.